Today's story is about something so absurd, so petty, and so unbelievably ridiculous that you might think I'm making it up. But I promise you, this actually happened. See, our HOA had a decree, not against loud parties, not against leaving garbage out, not even against unkempt lawns. No. They had a rule against sidewalk chalk. That's right. The little colored sticks that kids use to draw flowers, hopscotch squares, and smiley faces? Strictly forbidden. It sounds petty, and it was. But this rule came to a head during the pandemic, when kids were cooped up, desperate for something fun to do, and families just needed a little joy in their lives. That's when our HOA decided to flex its power and crush that joy. But you know me. I wasn't about to let that stand. And the revenge I came up with? Let's just say it left the HOA with no leg to stand on, and brought the entire community together in the process. So, buckle up. Because this is the story of how I used the HOA's own stupidity to humiliate them, all over a box of sidewalk chalk. When we first moved into the neighborhood, the HOA seemed annoying but manageable. Sure, there were rules about grass height, mailbox paint color, and how long you could leave your garbage bins outside. But compared to horror stories I'd read online, it wasn't too bad. Then I learned about the sidewalk chalk ban. It was buried in the bylaws under temporary defacement of communal property. Essentially, the HOA argued that chalk drawings lowered the visual standard of the neighborhood and could be offensive or disruptive. Yes, you heard that right. According to our HOA, a rainbow drawn by a 5-year-old was disruptive. Most of us ignored the rule. Kids drew hopscotch, parents wrote cheerful little messages like, "We got this," during the height of the pandemic, and honestly, it was one of the few things that brought joy to our quiet, lockdown street. But then came her. Every HOA has that person. The one who actually enjoys writing violation notices and measuring grass with a ruler. In our neighborhood, her name was Martha. Martha was in her late 60s, retired, and made it her personal mission to walk the neighborhood twice a day looking for infractions. She was the self-appointed guardian of standards, and she took her role more seriously than the actual board. One day, I watched from my porch as Martha literally waited for a young mom and her 2 kids to return from a walk. The kids had drawn a little mural of flowers and a sun on the sidewalk in front of their garage. Martha pounced, waving her phone like a sword. "You need to clean that up immediately," she snapped. "HOA rules forbid chalk drawings." The mom looked stunned. "It's just chalk. It'll wash off with the next rain." "Doesn't matter," Martha said, pulling out a violation notice she had already pre-filled. "Rules are rules." The kids looked crushed. The mom bent down, trying to comfort them, but I could see the frustration in her eyes. That was the moment I decided, enough was enough. The chalk ban went from an obscure bylaw to an outright war. The HOA began sending out community-wide reminders. All chalk drawings must be removed immediately. Repeated violations will result in fines. Parents were furious. Kids were confused. One little girl down the street cried because she couldn't draw a rainbow to thank delivery drivers anymore. Another family got fined $50 for a hopscotch board that hadn't been washed away yet. The HOA justified it by saying they were protecting property values. Give me a break. Who in their right mind sees a kid's chalk drawing and thinks, "Oh no, I can't buy a house here"? I tried to talk sense into the board. I attended a virtual meeting and said, "Look, this is absurd. Chalk is temporary. It washes away with rain. Why are we cracking down on children during a pandemic?" But the board, led by Martha, of course, doubled down. One board member even said, "If we allow chalk, then what's next? Graffiti? Spray paint? Where do we draw the line?" I muted my mic before they could hear me laughing. Comparing a rainbow to gang graffiti was so ridiculous, I couldn't even argue with it. That's when I realized logic wasn't going to work. If I wanted to beat them, I'd need to be creative. The idea came to me while I was helping my own daughter clean up her chalk drawings. She was pouting, scrubbing little stick figures off the sidewalk with a bucket of water. "Daddy," she said, "why don't they like our pictures? They're happy pictures." That hit me hard. But it also gave me inspiration. If chalk was the problem, what about something that wasn't technically chalk? I started experimenting. Sidewalk paint kits, washable markers, even power washing stencils that created designs without leaving any residue. None of these technically violated the HOA's chalk rule, but they achieved the same thing: colorful, joyful art on the sidewalks. And if the HOA wanted to fight me on it? Oh, I was ready. The next weekend, I quietly handed out supplies to neighbors: washable spray chalk alternatives, stencils, and instructions. I told them, if they want to ban chalk, fine. But we'll give them something they can't regulate. On Saturday morning, the neighborhood woke up to an explosion of color. One driveway had a giant mural of superheroes thanking frontline workers. Another had flowers and butterflies that looked like stained glass. My daughter and I stenciled, "Love lives here," in bold rainbow letters across our entire sidewalk, done with washable paint, not chalk. By noon, the whole street looked like a festival. And when Martha showed up, oh, the look on her face was priceless. She stormed up to me, red in the face, and snapped, "This is chalk. This is against the rules." I smiled sweetly and held up the paint bottle. "Actually, it's washable tempera paint, not chalk." Her jaw dropped. "But, it's the same thing." "Not according to the bylaws," I said. "The rule specifically says sidewalk chalk. This isn't chalk." She sputtered, then marched off to call an emergency board meeting. The following week, the HOA sent out a letter. All sidewalk art is prohibited, regardless of material. That was their big mistake. Because now they weren't just banning chalk. They were banning all temporary expression, including things they hadn't considered, like festive window paint, or driveway decorations, or even power washing patterns people made to clean their sidewalks. I rallied the neighbors. We pointed out that the new rule was so broad, it was unenforceable. Were they really going to fine families for drawing with washable snow spray at Christmas? For cleaning their driveways and patterns? For kids playing hopscotch with painter's tape? We demanded a vote to overturn the rule. The board resisted, but the pressure was too great. Parents were angry, kids were sad, and even non-parents thought the rule was absurd. When the vote came, it wasn't even close. The chalk ban was gone. But I wasn't done yet. The weekend after the ban was overturned, the entire neighborhood organized a chalk festival. Families decorated their driveways and sidewalks with murals, messages, and games. We invited local kids to join, and even some people from neighboring communities came to see. It was beautiful. The whole street was filled with color, laughter, and joy. And Martha? She had to walk through it all, fuming silently, unable to do a thing. Her precious decree was gone. Her power play had backfired spectacularly. Instead of stamping out sidewalk chalk, she had inspired the biggest, most colorful protest the neighborhood had ever seen. And the best part? The local newspaper even covered it. They ran a story titled, "Neighborhood Beats Pandemic Blues with Chalk Festival." The photos showed smiling kids, happy families, and not a single mention of the HOA's nonsense. Martha's legacy wasn't protector of property values. It was the lady who tried to ban rainbows. So that's how our HOA tried to ban sidewalk chalk, and how I turned their petty decree into the most humiliating defeat they'd ever faced. All it took was some creativity, a little washable paint, and a community that refused to be bullied. What do you think? Was Martha just a power-hungry busybody, Or do HOAs really need to get this petty to feel important? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss another tale from Tales of Revenge. Until next time, keep standing up to bullies, and never let anyone ban your rainbows.